Hello everyone, welcome back, and today is week 12 of my album rankings. And this week we have Red Carpet Massacre. So many of you may know that Red Carpet Massacre was the album that Duran Duran began to make after Andy Taylor left the band. They were working on an album with him after Astronaut, which was supposed to be called Reportage, I think. I'm sure that's how it was supposed to be pronounced as well. However, they shelved that album due to his departure and decided to start over again, and that became Red Carpet Massacre. Red Carpet Massacre is a bit of a hit or miss album, I think, with a lot of people. Some fans really like it and some don't. This is probably not a shock, but I happen to be one of the people that does actually like this album. I wouldn't say it's like one of my complete favourites, but I do like it. It is an album that I would choose to listen to quite a lot. I think it's quite easy to listen to, and I know not many people would really agree with that, but that is my opinion. I'm also going to be including the bonus track from this album, which is Cry Baby Cry. I'm sure some of you may have heard of that one, and if not, you should listen to it, because I do think it should have been a song on the album from the start, really. But of course, my usual disclaimer is just that just because a song is at the bottom of the list, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't like the song. It just means that I am least likely to listen to that one. It just means that I won't play it as much as the other songs on the album. But anyway, let's get into the ranking. At number 13, we have Tricked Out. I didn't find much about this song, apart from that it was just described as having a Tim Burton feel to it, which wasn't official, I don't believe, but that's just what someone said online. Personally, for me, I think Tricked Out is quite long, and I know it's not that long. I think it's about 2.5 minutes. So I know the point of an instrumental is that it doesn't have lyrics on it, obviously, but I do think it would have been a nice song if there was a little bit, if there were just a few lyrics in there. And like I said, I know that kind of defeats the point of an instrumental. It wouldn't really be an instrumental anymore, but I'm sure there is a Duran Duran song that is more instrumental than lyrics, and I think it might be on Medazzaland, but I can't remember. I'm sure there's one, and I'm not sure if it's Silver Halo. I could be wrong, but I'm definitely sure that there is a Duran Duran song that is more instrumental than lyrics, and I do think Tricked Out could have been one of those songs. I do actually think it is a good instrumental, but as I've said in previous videos, I'm just not a big instrumental listener. I do like when there's lyrics in a song. So at number 13, we have Tricked Out. I did struggle with ranking this album a little bit, but not as much as Astronaut. But I think trying to pick a song to come at number 12 was a little bit difficult. And I'm quite shocked at what I put at number 12, because I actually really like this song and I do listen to it quite a lot, but for some reason I just felt like putting it at number 12. So at number 12, we have Night Runner. Night Runner was likely to have been a contender for a single. However, only the live version was released as a download single in March 2008. And I do think it would have made a good single as the actual studio version. The studio version features Timbaland and Justin Timberlake, and it is also produced by them, plus Duran Duran. I know the reason a lot of people didn't like Red Carpet Massacre was because of the Timbaland and Timberlake collab sort of thing. I don't think that Duran Duran, need anyone to, help them with the music or anything, but I do quite like the sound that they brought to Red Carpet Massacre, if that makes sense. And I know that is the reason that Andy left as well, because he didn't agree with that decision. I definitely see his point of, Duran Duran not needing anybody else to help them with their music. They'd made, 11 albums by themselves up to that point. But as I said before, Duran Duran are always experimenting, and they always, you know, they're always experimenting with different sounds and different styles. And so, you know, I wouldn't really, it's not completely shocking to me that they would have, you know, made an album with different people and, you know, different producers and things like that. I couldn't find much more about Night Runner, just that it was a good contender for a single. So at number 12 we have Night Runner. At number 11 we have She's Too Much. Some people might know what She's Too Much is about, some of you might not. Simon has explained that the song is about his daughter Saffron, who was 16 at the time when he wrote it. She was in the studio on the day of writing. That triggered the lyrics. And Simon also added that he didn't even know he was writing about her until he wrote the second line, "She's everything head first." I think that's really nice, you know. I mean, like, I think I've spoke before about how Simon's like a really, you know, he writes from the heart, and I think, again, this is one of those situations where, you know, he is writing from the heart because he's writing about his daughter. And I think if you really listen to it, you know, it is a really beautiful song. Now, he also wanted the song to be titled Gentle Touch because, you know, in the song they say, "She's too much, a gentle touch." But Nick objected because he thought it sounded like a brand of feminine products. So that didn't happen. It became She's Too Much instead. And I do have to agree with him a little bit there. I can kind of understand where he was coming from, you know. And I do think that giving it the title She's Too Much was actually, you know, it fits more with the rest of the titles, in my opinion. If you look at the track list on the album, I do think Gentle Touch would have kind of been a little bit out of place, and it would have been like, what? But I do think She's Too Much does go better with the track listing, if that makes sense. But at number 11, we have She's Too Much. At number 10, we have Box Full of Honey. Now, the lyrics were written by Simon to this song, and on the Sirius Internet radio show in 2008, he said that the song is about the love of his life and the feeling that the whole world is empty except for the two of us. I wasn't really sure what that song was about, you know, and that is kind of the point in Duran Duran songs. You kind of left wondering what it's about. You're supposed to kind of give it your own interpretation. And I always just kind of thought it was, you know, kind of about a man who has really bad luck and everything. I wasn't really expecting it to be sort of like a love song. And, you know, that got me thinking, ooh, is this a bit of a cheeky song? I know now you're thinking, oh wow, after what you said about Astronaut, you've got a dirty mind. I have. We'll leave it where it is, really. But I don't really have much more to say about that song. That's the only thing I could find about it, and I don't really have my own input for it, apart from what I just said. So at number 10, we have Box Full of Honey. At number 9, we have The Valley. The Valley was first aired in public over the sound system at the much anticipated fan club only Hammerstein Ballroom concert in New York on the 17th of June 2007. The Valley's the first song on the album. I think it's a great way to start the album. I think a few months ago, The Valley probably would have been a little bit higher up on my list. Since listening to the album more over time, you know, the songs that have taken its place and are higher up now. But I do really like The Valley, and I remember watching a radio show from about 2008, perhaps. It was Roger and Simon, and it was in Italy. And the DJ played The Valley. And, you know, there's that really long sort of instrumental, like halfway through. And it's a good 2 minutes, really, I think. So the DJ is playing The Valley, and it gets to that part with the instrumental. And the DJ goes to turn it off, and Simon's like, no. It hasn't finished yet. And because this instrumental is so long, like the DJ has to kind of turn it off at some point, and Simon was fuming. He was not happy. You could tell he was not happy, and I was like, I wouldn't be happy either, actually. So, you know, I kind of understood his point, because there's nothing worse than when a song you really like gets cut off halfway through, or even before the end's finished. You know when you listen to a song on the radio and they cut it off at the end and then the DJ starts talking? Like, who do you think you are? Wait till the song's finished. So I don't have much more to say about the Valley, though, other than that it was first aired in public and that little story I just shared. So at number 9 we have The Valley. At number 8 we have Falling Down. I've discovered that not a lot of people actually like Falling Down, which I was quite shocked about. I was like, oh dear. The single wasn't released on CD in the USA due to decline in physical singles being released over passing time, in the US at least. The single was, however, still released on CD in several European countries on an 8-track promo CD. Now, Falling Down was also the only song on Red Carpet Massacre that has a music video which portrays models in rehab, and the members of Duran Duran are the doctors in the rehab. Now, there is said to be an explicit topless version of that music video, though it is nowhere to be found. I'm a bit intrigued, actually, if they'll ever release that. It does make me a little bit curious as to, like, what happened then. Did they finish the video and just never release it? Did they record it and just never bother, like, finishing it up? Will it, like, is it somewhere out there? Is it destroyed? Will it be released someday? Like, I have a lot of questions about the video. I'd like to know what happened to it, but I suppose we might never know. But anyway, at number 8, we have Falling Down. At number 7, we have Zoom In. I could not find anything about Zoom In. There is a few songs on this album that I couldn't find any information about, but I've definitely found more information about the songs on this album than I did with Astronaut, which I'm glad about, because I could not find anything about many of the songs on Astronaut, and somehow the videos still seem to be really long. I don't know how, but it was. I like the lyrics to the song. I think they're very interesting, you know. I like the beginning lyrics that are like, in the wind, in the snow, in the filthy weather. I like those lyrics. I think they're interesting. I do like the lyrics to Zoom In, but I can't really give you much information about it, unfortunately, and I don't really have my own interpretation of this song. So we will leave it at that, and at number 7, we have Zoom In. At number 6, we have a song that I am surprised I didn't put higher up on the list. And at number 6, we have Tempted. Now, once again, the lyrics to this song were written by Simon, and the song was described as having similar dance undertones as Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake. And I can definitely hear that, actually, when I listen to it. I remember I've listened to it in the past and thought, this song reminds me of a song, and I can't think what. I do really like Tempted. I couldn't find much about it other than what I have just said, but it is probably one of the songs on Red Carpet Massacre that I would love to see live. I know they actually did perform it live about 5 years ago. I've seen a video of it live, and I think it was from 2019. I was very envious of everybody who was there and got to see it. A while ago, it probably would have been a little bit closer to being at the top of the list. Since listening to the album a lot more, there's other songs that have now taken its place. At number 6, we have Tempted. So we're in the top 5 now, and at number 5, we have Last Man Standing. I couldn't find anything about Last Man Standing, and I was a little bit disappointed because I thought I might find something about that song, but I couldn't. Now, I actually thought that it was a follow-up to Falling Down, or a prequel to Falling Down. Falling Down is, well, it's about a guy who's falling down with people standing round. Because of something I read about, like, where Simon subconsciously got the lyrics from, I've just always taken Falling Down as a song about a guy you know, getting into like a accident basically, and on a racetrack. And so, you know, last man standing in the song, the lyrics are like, he's the last man standing on the track. So I always thought that maybe they kind of were connected in some way, but there was nothing to say that they were, but in my head they kind of are. If you have the original album and not the album with the bonus track on, Last Man Standing is the last song on the album, and I think it's a great album closer. I'm sure people will disagree. Like I said, I couldn't find anything about Last Man Standing, so that's all I really have to say about it, really, is I did think that maybe it was a follow-up to Falling Down or a prequel to Falling Down. I've gone blank and I can't remember any of the verses, but I remember the chorus, and so what I'm just, you know, getting from that is maybe it is about a guy who's, you know, he's gone through an accident, as I've mentioned before, with like falling down, and now, you know, he's sort of taking his power back and his life back, and maybe he's getting over it, you know, and trying to heal from it, and he's going back out on the track, you know. I mean, that's a really bad interpretation, isn't it? But that's just what I kind of thought of right now. But I don't really have anything else to say about Last Man Standing, and so it is at number 5. At number 4, we have the album's title track, Red Carpet Massacre. Again, I couldn't find anything about this song, but I wasn't too surprised because sometimes you don't really find a lot about the album's title tracks. I do think it is a great title track, actually. Oh, I opened up the CD and look who's there. Hello, boys. I really like Red Carpet Massacre, and I think it's a great title track. I think they really captured what a Red Carpet Massacre would be, really. This is random, and I'll probably cut this out. The musical intro to the song, it does remind me a little bit of a song from a film. I'm not going to say what film because I don't want them to get in trouble or anything, you know. I don't want to cause any legal issues for them, but that's what I'm going to say. The music at the beginning of the song, it does remind me of a song from, or a little instrument. No, it is a song from a film. But I couldn't really find anything about Red Carpet Massacre. So at number 4, we have the album's title track, Red Carpet Massacre. Now we're on to the top 3 now. And at number 3, we have the album's bonus track, Cry Baby Cry. So as I said, Cry Baby Cry is a bonus track. And it was initially released as a bonus track on Japanese albums only with the original release. But it eventually became a worldwide bonus track. Well, at least that's what I gather, because I believe it is on the new, because I know it's definitely on my edition of the vinyl, which was one of the new releases that they released last year, I think. And so it's also on the new pressing of the CD. So I think now it is just on all of the newer CDs and the new vinyl. I do wish they did that with Virus, actually, from Astronauts. When they re-released the albums, I do wish that they had have included Virus as a bonus track on Astronaut in the same way that they did Cry Baby Cry with Red Carpet Massacre. But I fell in love with Cry Baby Cry. As soon as I heard it, I instantly liked it. I really like the lyrics in it, and I think, you know, it really does tell you something. And I just think it's a catchy song anyway, really. I couldn't really find anything about what Cry Baby Cry was about, but I think really, you know, if you listen to it, it could be about getting caught up in fame and money and power. Hence the lyrics like, you can't see the truth for the dollars in your eyes, you know, like there's something more in front of you, but you're just, you know, you're blinded by all this money and fame that you have, that, you know, you're not actually seeing other things around you. But yeah, it is definitely about like status and, you know, fame, power, money, that sort of thing. When you really listen to the lyrics, I just like the lyrics to it. I think it is a really good song, and I'm glad that it finally made its way onto the album, on all of the releases of the album, and not just as a Japanese bonus track because it is a really great song. And you know, it's also on streaming platforms, which is great. Like I said, I wish they'd do that with Virus, because we've even got the bonus track from Medadaland on streaming platforms now, which is Ball and Chain. I just can't believe they haven't released Virus as like its own bonus track yet. As you can tell, I really love Virus. But I don't really have anything else to say about Cry Baby Cry, other than I think it's a great song and that I am really glad that it is now on all of the albums. And so at number 3 we have Cry Baby Cry. At number 2 we have Skin Divers, which was apparently planned to be the second Red Carpet Massacre single following Falling Down. For a long time, Skin Divers used to be my favourite song from Red Carpet Massacre. However, obviously the song that is my favourite now has took its place. I like a lot of the lyrics in it. I think they're quite, you know, they're quite bizarre, and that's what makes it what it is, you know. I love the lyrics. Like, one of my favourite lyrics from that song, actually, to the point where I've actually remembered it, is the lyric in the third verse, which is "A blushing rose is torn from these sugar walls. I've misplaced my future, can I please borrow yours?" I love that lyric. I think it's great. I just like all of the lyrics really in Skin Divers. I think they're quite nonsensical in a way, but you know, I like that about them because I do like how, you know, Duran Duran songs are quite nonsensical sometimes, and I think a lot of people forget how poetic Simon is. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if he actually wrote the lyrics to that song, but I would feel like he contributed to them at least. And, you know, but just away from the song really as well, I think people do forget that Simon is actually really poetic. For a lot of people, you know, that's why they misunderstand his lyrics, or, you know, they're confused by them. It's because, you know, they don't understand them, and so they just think it's a load of nonsense. And I just think, you know, you kind of have to have a certain mind and a certain intelligence to understand his lyrics, really. Okay, well, somebody out there has decided to do some gardening, so if you can hear something, it's them doing their gardening. As I was saying, I think a lot of people just kind of, you know, disregard Duran Duran songs because they don't understand them, and they're, you know, they're confused by them, and they can't be bothered to actually think deeper about them, you know, and look and think, oh yeah, there's more to this song than what's on the surface. And I think that's the reason I like Duran Duran songs, is they, you know, they require you to think, they require you to make up your own story as well, and I like that. I like that they are not explicitly stating what they mean, you know, like, you kind of have to look for and think about the meaning to the song rather than it just be put on a plate in front of you, and I like that. I like that sort of cryptic, you know, sort of lyricalness, really. But apart from it, you know, being planned to be the second Red Carpet Massacre single, and there not really being a reason as to why it was shelved, I couldn't really find anything else about Skin Divers. So at number 2, we have Skin Divers. At number 1, my favourite song from Red Carpet Massacre is Dirty Great Monster. This was a song that I for some reason, I kind of put off listening to. So I'm a person that when I listen to albums, I tend to look at the track list on the album, and instead of just listening to the album in full, at least once, I just kind of like pick songs that I think would sound good, judging by the title. So like, the first songs that I listened to on Red Carpet Massacre were The Valley and Zoom In and Tempted, and then She's Too Much, and eventually, you know, I kind of listened to a few more songs, and then one day I just thought, I'm gonna listen to the entire album. There's like 4 or 5 songs on there that I haven't yet listened to, so I might as well just listen to the whole thing. I'm glad I did. I mean, obviously I would have at some point, but I discovered Dirty Great Monster, And at first I don't think I really paid much attention to it, but then a few months ago I listened to it again, and then Dirty Great Monster really sunk in, and I was like, wow, this song, I really like this song, and now it has become my favourite song from Red Carpet Massacre. What a great story, hey? On an Ask Katy question, Simon explained that the song is about someone close to his extended family, but he cannot be any more specific than that, which I don't blame him. You know, every family has a dirty great monster, and when you have that dirty great monster, you don't want to name and shame, really. So I believe that the question was about somebody wondering what dirty great monster was about, and their daughter also wondered who Simon's dirty great monster was. So then Simon answered the rest of the question by saying that his own dirty great monster was his old deputy headmaster at school and his swishing cane. Poor Simon. Yeah, that's all I could really find about Dirty Great Monster. I think it is a brilliant song. It really took the place of Skin Divers for me, because for a long time Skin Divers was actually my favourite song from Red Carpet Massacre. And then, you know, once I listened to Dirty Great Monster properly, it became my favourite song. Once you know that it's a personal song, it actually takes on quite a deeper meaning, really, you know. I kind of just assumed it was just, you know, maybe about being in, like, show business and, you know, everyone kind of, you know, getting carried away with themselves and, you know, not really being, like, normal anymore. But once I found that out, that it was quite a personal song, I was like, oh, that's unexpected. But yeah, we'll leave it at that because I don't really have any more information about it. So at number 1, my favourite song from Red Carpet Massacre is Dirty Great Monster. And so that concludes my ranking of Red Carpet Massacre. It kind of sounds like one's going off out there, but it's not. Someone's just got the drill or something. I don't know. Also, can we take a little moment of appreciation for this picture inside of Red Carpet Massacre? I have the deluxe edition that has the CD and the DVD in it, and there's a nice little picture inside. Look at Simon. I wonder who your favourite is. So do I. Am I going red? I'm going Red Carpet Massacre. Now, I think by now it's very obvious Simon is the favourite of mine. Had to be somebody's, didn't he? Because everybody just seems to give him loads of stick. Why? What did he ever do to you? And don't say he wrote songs, because I know you listen to them, Janet. I'm not targeting anybody called Janet in particular. I just had to think of a name. I do see a lot of the fans, like, targeting him. Like, hello? Are you a fan or are you not? Because you need to get a grip. So that concludes my ranking of Red Carpet Massacre. Like I said at the beginning, it's an album that people either seem to like or they don't like. I don't really think there's an in-between with this album. I do really like it. I can understand why some people wouldn't, you know, because of, like, the Timberland thing. And, you know, like, the whole, well, Duran Duran didn't need other people to come and produce that album with them and, you know, help them on the tracks and things like that. And I can understand that, and that being the reasoning as to why people might not like the album. But I think, you know, just completely writing it off because that actually really bothers you, I think that is a little bit, you know, a little bit silly to just be like, okay, I hate the entire album just because they produced it with, like, other people. Like, I know there's at least one song that you like on there. Tell the truth, it's not gonna hurt you. But yeah, Red Carpet Massacre is definitely one that I would listen to quite often. I've just realised that it is the last album that Duran Duran made in the 2000s. But anyway, of course, next week will be All You Need Is Now. And I'm gonna admit, I think this is the album that I've been least looking forward to ranking. I know this is so unpopular and everybody's gonna, you know, scream at me for this, but All You Need Is Now has never been one of my personal favourite albums. I've always found it quite hard to get into. There are some songs that I do like on the album, but just not as many compared to a lot of them. But I will be ranking that one next week, and we still have 4 weeks to go, which is actually quite shocking. I can't believe there's only 4 more albums to rank. So if you want to stick around for that, that is appreciated. And until the next one, bye.